welcome to video 7. This should be the last video on transposing or solving for x. Now, as promised, I created some slightly harder questions when solving for x, right? So let's get started right away. Here on the board, if you had looked at the previous videos, the difference between this question and the last questions is that this one has brackets in it now. Now, don't let the brackets confuse you. At the end of the day, we're still trying to get x alone on one side and everyone else on the other side. Now, in one of my videos, I think it was video 3 or 4, I think it was video 4, that I was explaining that when a question has brackets, you always try to get rid of the brackets first. I tell students to try to think of brackets as one of the worst things in maths, and you always get rid of them before you start the question. So, how do we get rid of the brackets? Remember, when you have brackets and a number just outside it, you see nothing in between here and here. This is a secret multiply. So this means everyone inside the brackets, these two items, will get multiplied not by 3, but by -3. And since it's a multiplication question, we can employ the N, the L, and the S. So just like in previous videos, we would multiply the numbers first, then the letters, and then the signs. So let me quickly do that. 3 by 4 is 12. 3 by 2 is 6. We're finished with the numbers. Let's try the letters. When you were multiplying these two, there were no letters. When you were multiplying these two, the letter involved was X. Let's do the signs. Now this 4 is a secret positive. When you multiply a minus and a positive, you get a minus. When you multiply a minus and a next minus, you will get a plus. So, we're finished multiplying out the brackets. So when we finish multiplying out the brackets disappear. There are no more brackets in this particular question. And you put it equal to -7. Now this question becomes a normal question now. All you're going to do is try to get x on one side, everyone else on the other side. Who will you throw across first? You will have to throw across the -12 first, because you are pretending to be the letter X. And the positive 6 is next to you, so that's your friend. And the one that's further away from you is, well, not your friend. So, you have the positive 6, you have -7. Throw across -12, you're going to get positive 12. Add these up. You will get, I believe, positive 5. And then you have positive 6x. Now, the positive 6 is your friend, and between here and here, you have a secret multiply. Remember, when you throw across a multiply, you get a divide, but the sign does not change. So, throw across your friend, the multiply changes to divide. And it goes underneath, but the sign does not change. Now, in this case here, like all the other examples, when we are dividing the two numbers at the end of the question, we got a really nice number. 6 cannot go into 5. But when you divide a positive by a positive, you'll get back a positive, and you just get 5/6. That's the end of this question. The answer for x is 5/6. So let's try another question now. One with some brackets again. So, how about 4 equals to -3, open brackets, 2x plus 1. You notice in this question, the x is on this side alone of the equal sign. So there are no x's on this side. That's not a problem. The first step, the brackets, we need to get rid of the brackets. And to get rid of the brackets, we use the N, the L, and the S. Let's start off. 3 by 2, 6. 3 by 1, 3. We're finished. We move on to the letters. When you're multiplying these two, x. When you're multiplying these two, no letter. This 2 is a secret positive because when you look to the left, you didn't see anything. Well, a minus and a plus is a minus, and a minus and a plus is a minus. And this whole thing is equal to 4. Now, we have two options. If you ask two people, like, how to go forward from this point, some people will say, keep the x's on this side. And if you ask another person, they will say, throw the x on the other side. Now, when you're solving for x, you try to get x alone on one side. It doesn't matter if the x ends up on this side of the equal sign alone. And it also doesn't matter if the x ends up on the other side of the equal sign. It's just a matter of preference. Now, all my examples, I like my x to be on this side. So since I'm accustomed to all the x's being on that side, I will put the x's on this side. Now, it's important to note, if the x ends up on that side or on that side of the equal sign, you will get the same exact answer, right? But I like my x's to be on this side. So you have a minus 6x. I grab it, I throw it across. The minus will change to positive. This 4 doesn't have an x, so it belongs on the other side. Now remember, this 4 is a secret positive. So when he goes across to the other side, he will change to a negative. The only item not moving here is the minus 3. So let's switch these two here. Minus 6x becomes positive 6x, and the positive 4 becomes what? Minus 4. Just a point to note, the minus 4 could have been written here. The idea is the 4 just has to make it on the other side of the equal sign. Doesn't matter if you put it here or if you put it after the minus 3. You'll get the same answer. So you have positive 6x, addition and subtraction. Signs are the same, so we add and we put back the sign of the bigger number. Now, to get x alone on one side, you have to ask your friend to leave now. Your friend will always be a secret multiply. Throw across and multiply, you're going to get a divide, but the sign does not change. When you divide a negative and a positive, they will combine to give you a negative. So a negative and a positive will give you a negative. You can leave your answer as a mixed fraction, or 6 into 7 is 1, remainder 1, and you put it over the denominator. So you can have minus 7/6 or minus 1 and 1/6. Any one of these is correct. Let's try another one. Now, technically this is question 3. I forgot to change it to question 2 just now. Alright. Let's try one with a fraction. Now, the ones with fractions, I will do a separate video doing it in detail, but I just want to introduce it to you. Say we have 4/5 equals to minus 2. Here's what we're going to do. We have to fix up this question first. You notice how x is smack in the middle? Whenever you have something in the middle, it confuses the question, because you don't know whether to write the x on top or the x underneath. The truth is it belongs to the whole fraction. But to make calculations easier, when you have something smack in the middle of a fraction, I want you to pretend it's light and let it float up to the top. So if it's light, it will float up to the top and meet which number? The 4. So I want you to rewrite the question with the x on top. Right. Now the aim of the questions is still solve for x. Now, whenever I see fractions, and they ask me to solve for x, the first thing that comes into my head is this technique called cross multiplication. Cross multiplication is used when you have exactly one fraction on one side and exactly one fraction on the other side. Now over on this side we have one fraction because one divided side means one fraction, but the minus 2 is a whole number. That's not a fraction, but minus 2 is the same thing as minus 2 on 1. So here's what we're going to do. Cross multiplication is a technique. You will start off with fractions on both sides, but after you cross multiply, the fractions will disappear. It's like magic. So let's see. To cross multiply, we take the top from on one side and multiply by the underneath on the other side. And then we take the other top from the other side and multiply by the underneath on the other side. So you get a kind of cross. That's why they call it cross multiplication. The truth is, it doesn't matter if you multiply this one first or if you multiply this one first. I always like to multiply this one first. So 4x multiplied by 1, anything multiplied by 1 is itself. So when I cross multiply this diagonal, I put the answer on one side of the equal sign. Make sure and write your equal sign. And then you multiply the other side. 5 multiplied by minus 2 is minus 10. Remember, it's multiplication. This 5 is positive and this 2 is negative. When you multiply a positive and a negative, you get a negative. So you notice you're starting off with a fraction, but down here, you don't have any fractions. Isn't this a very simple question now? You want to get x alone on one side and the 4 is next to you, so the 4 comes like your friend, and your friend is always a secret multiplier who happens to be positive. So, throw across the multiply, you get a divide, your friend goes underneath, but when you throw across a multiply, the sign does not change. We can reduce this. 2 could go into 5, 2 could go into 10 to give you 5, and 2 could also go into 4 to give you 2. So it seems that you'll get a minus divided by positive is a minus. So you end up with minus 5 on 2. You can leave it as a mixed fraction, or 2 into 5 is 2, remainder 1. So this is 2 and a half. This is correct, or this is correct. Now this was just an introduction on cross multiplication, but I promise you I will make a full video on cross multiplication with simple examples like this. I'm going to build up to more complex examples. But I just wanted to introduce you to it, so later on when you see it, you'll be already a little accustomed to it. Let's try a different type of question now where we need to solve for x. Now, what I'm about to show you will be used as our base for simultaneous equations, which will be the next video. So, if I ask you to solve this now, 2x minus 3y is equal to minus 6. I know you have two different types of letters there. You're seeing x and you're seeing y. But this question says solve for which letter? X. I want you to keep your eye on the x. Don't let the minus 3y get to you. You are the letter x. This is you. And there will be someone next to you who will be a friend, and someone who is not next to you who will not be a friend. The same technique still applies. Who will you ask to leave first? Your friend or the person who is not your friend? Not your friend. Now remember, this minus sign belongs to the 3y. Yeah? Throw across the minus 3y, you're going to get positive 3y. Negative changes to a positive. So now you have 2x is equal to that. Now, this is a popular mistake made by a lot of students. They will try to add these two. Minus 6 plus 3, and you'll get something like minus 3y. But remember in my first video, there was a rule number 4, and it says that if you're adding or subtracting, for you to add or subtract, the letters must be the same. And he has a y, and the minus 6 doesn't have a y, so they're completely different. So it's impossible to squash them together to get one answer. In other words, I'm saying you need to leave this separate. Just leave it separate. There's nothing you can do about it. Now, it's time to get rid of your friend. Your friend is positive 2, and what you have in between here and here, multiply. The last person to throw across will always be your friend, and he will always be a multiplier. So, how much items do we have waiting on this side? We have 2 items, because it's impossible to squish them together. Your friend is a multiply. There are 2 ways you can write this answer. The multiply changes to a divide, and you write one big divide sign underneath both items. The multiply changes to a divide, your friend goes underneath, and he remains what? Positive. That's one way of writing the answer. Or, x is equal to, this really means that both items gets divided by what? 2. So you can also write it like this. You put the minus 6 and the positive 3y, and you write two separate divide signs. And you put positive 2 here and positive 2 here. This is also correct. I, however, would prefer if you stop after here. Because this form where you write one big divide sign is the one I'm going to use for when we start simultaneous equations. So this is the end of this question. There's nothing really much you can do here. X is on one side and everything else is on the other side. You have just solved for X. Sometimes in maths, a lot of students expect a really nice answer, like X is equal to 5 or 6. Over here, our answer doesn't look too pretty. But that is as simple as that, as this answer will get. Let's do one more again, where you have two letters. So you get the hang of it. Let's try one more here. 4y minus 2x is equal to 18. Once again, we have two letters, x and y. Let's concentrate on the x. You are the letter x. You want to make x is something. So who is next to you? Any minus 2 is next to you. Say minus 2 is your friend. Who is kind of separated away from you? Any positive 4y? The positive 4y is not your friend. So who are you going to throw across first? The positive 4y. So it might look something like this. Throw across positive 4y, you get minus 4y. Okay? Right. Positive changes to negative. It is impossible to squish those two together because one has a y and one doesn't have a y. Leave it separate. Now it's time to ask your friend to go across. What do you have in between here and here? A multiply. Throw across and multiply. You have two items waiting on this side. Put one big divide sign and divide the whole thing by minus 2. Because your friend, his sign does not change. That's the end of that question. That is as simple as that will get. Alright, so well, I hope solving for x is like much easier for you now. And of course, don't forget to visit the website below. Now, on the website, when you go, you'll see a button marked free maths videos. When you click on that, you will scroll down and see all the videos in order. But also, if you look to the right of each video or every other video, you will see a worksheet based on the videos. Feel free to do the worksheets. It comes with the answers. It's just to test yourself to make sure that you're understanding the topics. And of course, well, don't forget to subscribe and, well, look out for my next video. My next video will definitely be on simultaneous equations. So, hope to see you there. Thank you and have a good day.